welcome to another Put the Power Down video. In today's video, we're in the 2016 Jeep Wrangler. Starting off with this Jeep Wrangler's outward appearance, I definitely like the front end of it with the little star that you have, almost similar to the Captain America one. Definitely looks really mean, especially with the way that grill is and how it definitely changed the headlights that are on your standard Jeep Wrangler. I mean, this definitely has a much meaner appearance up front. I really can't just get over the actual front end of this car just because of that grill. Also, moving to the side, you definitely have these large, big tires that go all around. And of course, you have one on the rear of the vehicle back there that's sitting right there. I also like these running boards, and being that they're a little smaller, a lot of people would prefer that because it also gives the Jeep a more lifted presence, if that makes any sense. So basically, it just makes the vehicle look a lot higher than it already is. Also, looking on the outward appearance of the vehicle, the actual metallic that is in this paint is really nice. I do really like the silver. The outside of this vehicle also has a nice, strong presence to it. And what I mean by strong is I can tell that this vehicle off-road can definitely handle whatever you throw at it. So whether you be in the sand dunes or something like that, but definitely rock crawling, especially like I said with these huge tires and the running boards that you have here. I mean, if those things get hit by a rock or something, definitely not going to be dented in by anything at all. Now, moving on into the interior of the 2016 Jeep Wrangler. Now, being a Jeep, this thing is ready to go off-roading, like I previously said. And you know, the interior is not meant to be uncomfortable, but it's definitely not to be it's not meant to be very luxurious. Now, you do have a leather wrap steering wheel in front of me, of course, cruise control buttons right here. You have your menu settings right here for your you know, MPGs and stuff right here. There's a little analog or digital screen right here, and it has a compass, you know, tell you simple stuff like fuel mileage, a compass telling you which way you're going, so northwest, and you also have a thermometer in here. You know, very simple, not meant to be a whole bunch of gizmos to tell you exactly you know, extra information that you really don't need in the vehicle. And then on the left side of the steering wheel, you see this nice off-road badge right here. Then you also have the ability to lock the front and rear axles, along with adjust the sway bar a little. And then also right here on the door, now this being a Jeep, you can remove the doors and the roof, which is very nice, very cool. You know, you may have seen people on the road doing that already. Every Jeep is like that. This Jeep right here, since you, like I said, you remove the doors and stuff, the only buttons that you have right here are actually the lock and unlock buttons. And the buttons to actually roll down the windows are actually located right here in the center, along with locking the windows. Also in this vehicle, you have a screen right here that has your navigation, phone, radio, media, stuff like that. So like I said, navigation, you have the ability to have an auxiliary port right there. Very easy, very simple to use. You know, I can just go here, presets, I can navigate home if I want to go to the radio. You also have satellite radio here, you know, different media settings, of course your CD player, basically everything that you would expect in an infotainment system, you have it right here. Especially with the Uconnect system that you have right here, these are definitely very easy, nice to use systems. You know, they never give anyone trouble, everyone loves them, they always get great reviews. So overall, you definitely have a nice infotainment system. And then of course, right below the Uconnect system here, you of course, like I mentioned earlier, you have your window buttons to roll down the windows since you can take off the doors in this vehicle. Then you also have your climate settings right here. Then you have the ability to turn traction control off. This vehicle does have heated seats, and it also does have hill descent control. So if you're towing a trailer, because it's Jeep can tow, and I'll get more into that in a second, then you can actually use the engine braking. The vehicle will start engine braking. That way you're not burning up your brakes as you're going down the hill. So you have hill descent control right there. You also have the ability of a power outlet right here, like one that you'd have in your house. Also sitting in this Jeep, now I did mention earlier how the interior isn't meant to be uncomfortable, but it isn't meant to be extremely luxurious, because you know, you're doing off-roading, you're probably going to be in mud and stuff, and that gets in your interior and stuff like that. So the way they have this Jeep's interior set up, it's actually really nice, comfortable cloth seats that I'm sitting in right now. And the reason why I mentioned the mudding and stuff like that, because you know, if you get anything like that on these seats, it'd be very easy to clean out. You know, it wouldn't be a big hassle to worry about it. Even though they are cloth, you know, it definitely wouldn't stain the seat, especially with this darker color right here. And they are heated, like I said, so definitely comfortable seats and a very overall nice interior that would be very usable when it goes off-roading. Of course, like I said, you take off the doors and stuff, you might get mud in here, so it'll be very easy to clean off, nothing to worry about. So now what we're going to take this Jeep Wrangler on the road here with a vehicle that is so prepared to go you know, off-roading and stuff like that. It definitely would be interesting to see how this thing handles on the road, you know, whether you're doing it in your everyday life and stuff like that, if this is your everyday car. So I'll definitely guys tell you how it feels and stuff. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Starts up, and it does have a V6 engine, and I'll get to power numbers later. It's not too much of a startup noise here. Let's go ahead and take this vehicle on the road. We are now driving the 2016 Jeep Wrangler here on the road. I'm going to go ahead and put the vehicle down in the manual mode here, because this is a 5-speed automatic, and you have the ability to do that right here. Let's go ahead and get on the power. Okay, so it is definitely not a fast performance vehicle in any way, shape, or form. It just showed me that, you know, higher RPMs is honestly no difference in my opinion, or at least what I just felt between the lower and higher RPMs. You know, you do have a nice, decent exhaust note. Now we do have a V6 engine under the hood, like I mentioned earlier when I first turned the vehicle on. We have a V6 under the hood. It's making around 285 horsepower. It is the Pentastar V6 that Dodge has in their Dodge Chargers and Challengers. So, you know, this V6 is on some different platforms, and it has been known for good reliability. With the Pentastar V6 in this particular vehicle, it actually gets 17 city and 21 highway, so it is significantly lower than the Dodge Challenger and Dodge Charger. But you know, those are two separate vehicles, and this thing is not really that aerodynamic as most people have seen Jeeps, and as you've seen this one in the opening shots, it's definitely not an aerodynamic vehicle by any means. And now I'm just cruising here going around 45 miles an hour, and you know, with the big tires, sometimes you get a little bit of tire noise, and this does have a very teeny bit of it. You know, I've ridden lifted vehicles before, and I can definitely tell you that it can get a lot worse. So, you know, some people actually do like the sound of a lifted vehicle on bigger tires and stuff like that that the tires produce. But this one does have a teeny bit of sound from the tires, but it's definitely not much. The ride quality in this Jeep as a whole, you know, it is kind of bumpy. You know, the way the suspension is set up, it's set up for off-roading and stuff, so like rock climbing and stuff like that. So on the road, you do feel the bumps and whatnot, almost like your average car, you know, nothing too soft, nothing too ridiculous. And another thing I noticed while driving this Jeep Wrangler is actually the visibility that you really don't have when you look at your rearview mirror here. Because of the spare tire that you have in the back, along with the brake light that is blocking your view, you know, you can kind of peek around it and see if there's a car back there. You know, I mean, of course you're not in reverse going down the highway, something like that, but it is something to note. I mean, you can't really see what's back there for the most part. I mean, you can tell if there's a car back there, but you don't know, you know, exactly what's back there or anything. So, you know, if it is something that would concern you, then this vehicle might not be something that you'd be wanting. Another cool thing that you have in the interior of this Jeep Wrangler is actually a bar here, and a lot of times when you're doing rock crawling and stuff, you know, you're moving around a lot and stuff like that. If you're doing off-roading, you know, moving around, you have this bar here, along with the passenger. They also have a bar right there, you know, just a nice little bar to hold on to, really give you something to, you know, basically make yourself more sturdy in the car. That way you're not bouncing around and whatnot. And we're gonna go ahead and take some turns here in the Jeep Wrangler, and I'll tell you guys how it handles this. And of course there is body roll. You know, like I said, definitely not a performance vehicle at all. You know, I didn't feel like I was gonna flip, but I definitely would not go out here and use a Jeep for back road carving, because, you know, it's not what it's meant to do. And, you know, actually there is a little bit of play in the steering wheel here, you know, and it's not, like I said, a performance car at all, but it is something to note here that you have a lot of plays. You know, I'm going straight here, but I can do this as a steering wheel. And, you know, it's not really that responsive, and it does take I feel like there's actually a lot of slop when you're driving this vehicle. You know, turning here, you know, I kind of feel it dip a little. It definitely feels like I'm driving, you know, an older SUV or something like that. And, you know, it actually takes me back to my older vehicle. I used to have an old Ford Explorer, and I actually do like it. You know, some people might want something that's more sturdy, but, you know, you're buying a Jeep, it is what you expect. And we're going to go ahead and use the Jeep Wrangler's brakes here going in this turn a little bit. And you definitely do have to put your foot quite a ways down to actually get the vehicle to start stopping. But once it is stopping, it definitely does. The brakes definitely do their job of stopping the vehicle. You know, like I said, definitely not a performance vehicle. I've said that a couple of times now. You know, it's what you would expect from an SUV that is so heavily prepared to be off-road. Another thing with getting you know, off-road or getting out of this vehicle actually is that the running boards, like I mentioned, how they are smaller, so you do have to, as you're getting out of this vehicle, kind of look and make sure that you get on them, because they're not really out there. You will kind of miss. Now, if you're like me, you don't mind jumping in and out of the vehicle, but it is one thing to note that you probably have to jump out of this vehicle unless you use the running boards, because they are so small to get your feet on there. So in my time in the 2016 Jeep Wrangler, I can tell you that it definitely is a vehicle that is really prepared to go off-roading, you know, with everything that I mentioned, with the suspension, the four-wheel drive capabilities, the rock crawling capabilities. You know, Jeep Wranglers as a whole are definitely known for doing heavy off-roading. You know, anything that you really throw at them off-roading wise, they can handle it just fine. It also handles very nice on the street here. You know, I can see myself driving it on a daily basis with no major issues whatsoever. You know, there are a couple of things that you'd have to get used to, like I said, the visibility, you know, a little bit of slop in the steering wheel, but you know, it is to be expected, especially for everything that you get going off-road here. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, share this video on your favorite social media platform, and I'll catch you guys in another video.